Well, the High Court of the Federal Capital Territory has refused to grant an application seeking to stop the federal government from implementing Nigeria's new tax regime scheduled to begin on January 1st, 2026. Justice Bello Kawu dismissed the suit filed by the Incorporated Trustees of the African Initiative for Abuse of Public Trust, which had sought interim injunctions to restrain the federal government, the Federal Inland Revenue Service, and the National Assembly from enforcing the new tax laws. The group had argued that the Nigeria Tax Act 2025, the Nigeria Tax Administration Act 2025, the Nigeria Revenue Service Establishment Act 2025, and the Joint Revenue Board of Nigeria Establishment Act 2025 were improperly gazetted and could lead to abuse of public trust. They asked the court to halt implementation pending determination of the case. In his ruling, Justice Kawu emphasized that the fiscal policy and economic reforms fall squarely within the powers of the government and that controversies over the tax laws cannot stop implementation of a gazetted act unless amended or the offending sections set aside by a valid court order. The court further noted that the plaintiffs did not demonstrate how enforcement of the new tax regime would cause irreparable harm or violate constitutional provisions. Well, to provide expert insight into Nigeria's new tax regime taking effect from today and to break down the key provisions, compliance, expectations, and likely economic implications is Dr. Kennedy Iwundu, an associate professor of forensic accounting and the immediate past chairman, Chartered Institute of Taxation of Nigeria, Abuja District. Glad to have you join me on Prime Time.
Thank you for having me and Happy New Year.
The same to you. We hope it to be a much better year than 2025. Let's start from the court.
Yeah.
What the court says. What do you make of the decision of the court? Because, discrepancies have been talked about, which we will look into. But what do you make of what the court is saying?
Okay, thank you. In my profound introspection, the Nigerian tax, the act, there are four of them.
Yeah.
The Nigerian Tax Act, the Nigerian Tax Administration Act, the Joint Revenue Board Establishment Act, and the Nigeria Revenue Service Establishment Act. There's no allegation of alteration in the Nigerian Tax Act. There's no allegation of alteration in the Joint Revenue Board Establishment Act. There's no allegation of alteration in the Nigerian Revenue Establishment Act. The only act that has allegation of alteration is the Nigerian Tax Administration Act. And that particular Nigerian Tax Administration Act has 148 sections, and 8 sections were alleged to have been altered. So, in my own profound introspection, in one particular act where only 8 sections was alleged to be altered, should not stop the implementation of the entire 4 acts. Let me repeat it again. We have 4 acts.
Yeah.
Signed by the president, which implementation starts today. There is no allegation of alteration of the Nigerian Tax Act.
Only on the 4th one.
Only on the 4th one. No alteration on the Joint Revenue Establishment Act. No alteration of the Nigerian Revenue Service Establishment Act.
But on the Nigerian
Tax Administration Act, which has 148 sections. And out of that 148 sections, 8 sections of that particular act has been alleged to have been altered. So in my own introspection, now let's go ahead and implement the act. You can suspend those sections that was alleged, those 8 sections that were alleged to have been altered. We go ahead and implement it. So investigation can go on to find out whether they were actually altered or not. And if they were altered, we can use the Instrument of Finance Act to correct and amend it and punish those that have altered it. So for me, in accounting, what they also call materiality. What the number of sections in one act does not amount to total suspension of the 4 acts.
No, but then, Prof, that there arises a question.
Yes.
For example, the MBN article raised concerns over alleged unconstitutional alterations. What they actually said here is that they're accusing the executive of undermining legislative supremacy. You know, you have questions of coercive powers, arrest powers, property seizure, and not giving people property seizure without court orders. Mandatory 20% security deposit for tax appeals.
Yes.
Now, the question is, why would, because this was raised by a member of the House, Abu Samad Dasuki, why would it be altered in the first instance?
But again, you remember that it's an allegation.
Yeah, but this is, allegation, fine.
It's an allegation.
But you just said,
it has not been confirmed that those 8 sections of 148 section were altered. He alleged.
No, this is the House member, Dasuki Abdul Samad.
Okay.
Well, he alleged discrepancies between the tax laws
exactly.
by the NAS and the versions gazetted.
Yes.
Now the NAS is asking the clerk of the House, you know, I think I have it here, so he's asking the clerk of the House to now release it to the public.
Yes.
And one wonders, why is it now that discrepancies are being raised that the NAS is saying...
After 6 months?
Yeah, so, I mean...
So you can imagine what is going on. So the point we are making here is simple. We have 4 acts.
Yeah.
You cannot say because 8 sections on 1 act we are altered, you know, suspend the entire, including the ones that we are not altered.
Okay.
This is my position. You understand the point I'm making?
Okay.
You have Nigerian Tax Act. Nothing was altered there.
Okay.
You can go ahead and implement it. You have Nigerian Revenue Establishment Act. It was not altered. You can go ahead and implement it.
No, but Oyedele says 2 has already
all the implementation.
In June.
Then you also have Joint Revenue Board. That Joint Revenue Board and Nigeria, the implementation. Then Nigerian Tax Act is where we have all the provision that favors Nigerians.
Favors Nigerians.
Yes, I'm going to read out that.
Favors, because that's
yes, I'm going to read out. I'm a tax consultant,
yes.
So I'm going to read out how it favors Nigeria.
Okay.
I'm not defending government. I'm talking as a professional. Now, that particular act was not altered. I told you there are 4 acts. 3 were not altered. I did not say one act that was altered, that late to have been altered, should lead to the discontinuation of the entire 4 acts. No, I don't think that would not be good for Nigerians. So what we are saying is that suspend those sections, those 8 sections that is late to become, suspend them.
Yeah.
And investigate what happened and go ahead and implement the rest of the act. If in the course of investigation they were actually altered, you punish those that have engaged in altering it, and at the same time use the instrument of the Finance Act to correct them. It's simple. Okay. Well, and I'll tell you the benefit of this act they want to suspend. It's going to benefit.
Let me ask you that question immediately. We can move away from that, talk about doing things right and not doing things right, which we should be doing in this nation. You agree with me? We shouldn't be doing this kind of stuff. Well, the federal government says the overall objective of the tax reform is to promote economic growth, inclusivity, as well as shared prosperity. Now, Nigerians are really at sea concerning how this tax can work to benefit them. Break down for Nigerians how this will lead to their prosperity, how inclusive it is, and how we can promote not just government's growth economically, but theirs as well. Because if the government is taking revenue and the people are dying, I mean, that's not, the macroeconomics is being messed up. It's about the people after all, not just about government. Yeah, so explain to Nigerians.
Okay, one of the benefits of this tax act that we implemented today is that from this year, companies that will have turnover of 100 million and below will not pay tax. Companies 100 million. Yes, 100 million and below will not pay tax. Let's say you started the operation today being 1st of January. Between 1st of January today to 31st of December this year, if your turnover or your total sales or your revenue is about 100 million or below, the law has exempted you from paying tax. Is it not a good one? Currently, what we have is 25 million and below. Last year. I'm saying currently, forgetting that yesterday was last year.
Now we have moved from last year. A friend of mine called me today and said, he called me earlier and said, we have not seen since last year. And I said, what are you talking about?
So As at last year, which is yesterday, if your company has 25 million and below, that company will not pay tax.
Yeah.
But government has taken the threshold from 25 million to 100 million, meaning that so many companies in Nigeria will be out of tax net. Not being out of tax net, but will not be taxable. I don't know how many people that are doing business that will have if you are doing business and you have a turnover that is more than 100 million, you're a big person.
How about people who are not? You're talking about people who are doing business. I'm not doing business.
We are coming to your own.
Okay, talk.
So I've talked about the company.
Okay.
So one of the benefits of the act is that this year, any company that has a turnover of 100 million and below will be exempted from paying corporate taxes. That's the advantage. Then for individuals, as at last year, those who are exempted from paying tax are those who are earning 30,000 and below.
Okay.
But this year, if you are earning minimum wage or even men up to 80 or 100,000, depending on the deductions, you'll be out of tax, being paying tax.
So are you saying that all the civil servants and NLC, I'm talking about that, because I mean that that's the minimum wage.
That's the minimum. They're talking about minimum wage. You understand what I'm saying?
So they won't pay tax?
Yes, minimum wage this year, minimum wage has been exempted. From our calculation, you can earn up to 100,000 a month and you won't pay tax. Because by the time the threshold gives you first 800,000, 0%, grant you rent relief, and possibly you have pension deduction and other deduction, you may end up not paying tax any 100,000 and below. Unlike last year, those are exempted are those earning 30,000 and below. And from my computation, I've done a lot of computation over the new law. Those earning 17 million per annum and below, their tax liability will go down.
How?
Those earning 17 million per annum and below, the new regime is making their tax liability to go down. But if you are earning from 18 million and above, your tax liability will go up. Let me say it again.
It will go up?
Yes.
From what it used to be?
Yes, from the computation I've done on the new law. If you are earning 17 million per annum and below, your tax liabilities will come down. But if you are earning 18 million and above, your tax liability will go up. The regime tried to do what we call taxation of high network individuals.
Yeah.
The higher you earn, the higher you pay. So it does earning from 18 million, 19 million, 20 million, 50 million, 100 million, they will face more heavy taxes to pay. But if you are earning around 17 million and below, your tax liabilities will come down.
Now, how is the government going to, you talked about companies earning
100 million and
down,
yes.
No more tax. Yeah. I was just thinking in my head, some people could circumvent the system and say, even though they're earning 100 million, they're making 80. So how is government going to check that? The same way, some people might be earning high, and are all the people captured in the net? I mean, the high income earners, so that you have them paying enough tax?
Yeah, normally, the Revenue Authority will assess you through your bank transactions.
Oh.
It's difficult for Revenue Authority to know your cash transactions. That's the reality. If a company files returns and say, I earn this next year, company files returns of next year against this year, and say we are earning 100 million and below, therefore we have no tax to pay. The Revenue Authority will request they produce their bank statement to find out whether that's true.
Okay.
And again, the idea of bringing one bank statement and you have others, you don't bring it, will not work, because they will run the data analytics to see all the places your companies open bank account and ask you to bring them. For individuals, the same thing is applicable. Individuals, for proper assessment, when individuals file returns and the Revenue Authority believe that they are hiding something, the Revenue Authority has the power to demand for the individual to produce his or her own personal bank statement for them to find out whether the income declared is the right income.
Okay, because I have quite a little time now, let me see what I can get in. Now, Oyedele, the chairman of the committee, says that since the presidential assent, the committee has focused on capacity building, system upgrade, and sensitization. Has the government done enough? The media is trying to do what it should do. Has the government done enough? Shouldn't they do more? Do you think this is hurried? I mean, the whole process. Has the government done enough to really educate people, let people know what this is about? Add to that, let's run with this. Oyedele also says that this reform is a continuous process. It's not a one-off event. You get better as you go along. Isn't he saying that there are still rough edges that need smoothing? Therefore, I mean, like you say, how do you say it? You need to make haste but less speed. I mean, what is he implying there? Take those two questions in your stride. I hope I can still get in some more.
Okay, we have a tax policy. Nigerian tax policy says whenever there's a new tax law, people should be given a minimum of 3 months, 90 days to study the law before implementation. Okay. That's what our tax policy says. Okay. That if there's a new tax policy, a new tax law, a new tax direction, that people should be given 3 months, that's 90 days, to study and understand the law before implementation. Now, this law was signed in June. From June to December, which is yesterday, is 6 good months. Yeah. We expect that 6 months will be enough for the revenue authorities and the fiscal policy committee to educate Nigerians. I don't know much. I cannot really assess them in the area of that public enlightenment. But
yeah, because Oyedele says the greatest challenge to this tax issue is, well, okay, misinformation.
Exactly. So they may not have done the best by getting on, but it's not easy to get all Nigerians and educate them about the law. My advice has been, like somebody like us have been educating Nigerians. You can see our publication all over the place. See us on television.
Is that your duty? What is government doing?
We also owe a duty to educate
No,
people.
I know, but
yeah.
The point is, like I said, is government doing enough? Have they done enough?
Government has not done enough. Government has not done enough in terms of public enlightenment within the period. But again, what we are telling people is, in order not to make mistake, because implementation has started today, you need an advice of a tax consultant. Just like if you have a problem now, you need to meet a lawyer.
You're trying to promote your course. Anyway, let me move from there so we can run. The president, let me just give you this one.
Thank you.
Because I have less time here.
Yes.
The president says that harmonizing the tax system will raise revenue.
Yes.
But Oyedele says that the immediate objective of this is not to raise revenue. Again, there is a disconnect between the president and the minister. You know the case of Wale Edu, target revenue met. What do you think about that?
The objective of the act, there are two major objectives. One is to remove the low income earners from paying tax. Yeah. And that one is also to increase government revenue. Yeah. Okay. It's very simple.
Okay.
The objective, there are two major objectives. Yeah. One is, how do you remove low income earners, medium, small companies from paying tax? Then two, how do you also increase the tax revenue? So that is just the objective of the Nigerian tax.
Why then is he telling us that the immediate this thing is not to increase revenue? I mean, that's a wrong.
If government,
we'll leave it there. Dr. Kennedy Iwundu, an associate professor of forensic accounting and the immediate past chairman, Chartered Institute of Taxation of Nigeria. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for having me. Thank you so much.
On Prime Time. Well, you're watching that's it for this edition of Arise Prime Time. Do join us again tomorrow. From me and the entire team here in Abuja, goodbye, and thank you for watching.